what is your number one goal to get out of today's conversation?
So just to, I guess, ensure that I'm giving my clients the best plan possible and the best chance possible at achieving their goals, and that they just so that I myself as the coach, but also them have clarity on what the next 6 to 12 months look like, just to make sure that we kind of have like a bit of a structure to follow, obviously knowing that can change a little bit over time, but just having like the foundational structure sort of planned out so that they know what to expect. I can use that to kind of like bring it back to the plan when needed, but then also going off kind of what we went through in your programming workshops, just making sure that like we're factoring in life, like she's got events coming up, that sort of thing. So I guess just making sure that we're like strategically planning for those sorts of things is probably something I haven't done as much with my coaching and programming. So just making sure that, that's looking as like efficient as possible. If that makes sense.
Cool. Okay. I'll share my screen and we can have a little bit of a look at everything. Just entire screen. Now coming in, so we've got the training plan and then we have the yearly planner. So just move that there for a minute, move that here. And so getting down to business with her current goals, she's been training with you since the beginning of January.
We're actually training. She's actually been training with me for like 2 years. But I guess this phase that we're in now, like, so last year we went into like a proper build phase. We hadn't really done that before. So because we had to work through a lot of like, food noise, her relationship with food, that sort of thing. So that was kind of like what we really focused on initially. And then, last year, sort of middle of the year, went into a like surplus. So she was in there for a good, I'd say like 5 to 6 months. Probably more like 4 or 5. And then, started moving into a fat loss phase, sort of like November, December last year. And she's just coming. So then we're just now starting to bring her out of that. I feel like she probably was in it a little bit longer than I would have liked to keep her in there, but she was just not happy with like she wasn't losing as much body fat as she wanted to. And she also had a lot of like life things happening end of last year that kind of meant she couldn't be as consistent and that sort of thing. So we've kept her in there a little bit longer, but we've just increased the calories this week. And then we'll starting to like reverse her out of that.
Okay. How long? So she was in the surplus for how many months exactly?
For like 5 months, I would say.
5 months. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
November. She originally started her diet.
Yeah, November. Yeah, it was November. Yeah.
And so she had a lot on, but she wasn't as consistent.
Yeah. So she like just in terms of like steps and like her nutrition's always been pretty good, but in terms of like movement, recovery, like she's not always been super consistent with that. Her steps have always been, it's kind of something I've kind of had to try work on with her in terms of that extra movement. Cardio, like we added in a bit of extra cardio to try and make up for it, which she's probably averaging like 1 session per week at the moment. Trying to bring it up to 2.
Okay, cool. So when did the cardio start being programmed?
Start of the year.
Okay, cool.
Sorry, no. I had it in her plan from like it would have been like December. Yeah. But she wasn't really doing it back then. So I'd say she's probably been more consistent with it the last couple of months, but probably still only getting like 1 or 2 sessions in a week.
Okay. So that was from January. She started 1 to 2 cardio sessions. Okay, cool. Awesome. Okay. And then in terms of having a lot on, she's been a little bit more consistent since the beginning of January. Is that correct?
Yeah. With her training, she's always been pretty consistent. Definitely got a lot, definitely seeing strength increase overall. And like she's usually getting at least 3 out of her 4 sessions done every week. Maybe there's been 1 or 2 weeks that might have only been like 2, but usually it's at least 3 to 4. But more just around, I guess, the other things like the extra movement, being able to recover properly, sleep, those sorts of things. Like those are the things that have kind of always been up in the air, because I guess she kind of like the other things that slip when she's like really busy at work, or she's got like relationship stuff going on, or she's traveling and things like that.
I just wanted to check as well. You could see my screen before when I had it?
Yeah, I could.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Cool. So she's gotten a bit more consistent with training. She's consistently hitting 3 to 4 sessions.
Yeah.
Week. Consistently hitting 1 to 2 cardios per week. Right. Cool. How long has she had a program that's been like programmed for weight stays instead of 3?
Pretty much the whole time that I've been working with her. So like the last 2 years.
And how many weeks has she realistically, I guess on average, hit 4 sessions in a week? And like 4 good sessions, like 4 present intentional sessions?
I would say like a good 85 to 90, probably like 90% of the time she does.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's on the off that she does just 3 a week.
Yeah, it's probably been more like around, so like like December, Jan, when she did have a bit more going on. Because she's also something that I don't know if I've put in there, she has like, she gets really like tight in her hips and her traps as well. Yeah, so she kind of often is feeling a bit like tight or a bit too jammy, and so then she'll maybe be like, okay, today it's probably better if I just rest and don't train. So she's probably more so been doing that, like that's only really kind of been over the sort of Christmas summer period, because she's been like traveling a bit more, and that kind of messes with her a little bit.
Yep. What is she doing? So in terms of, she's got a little bit of mobility in here, which is cool. How does she go with the Poliquin step up? Because that can be quite quad and glute dominant. Arguably it can be more quad for someone who's struggling to activate their glute med and having tight hips. What does she look like when she's doing that?
A good question. I haven't actually asked her. She's not said anything about it.
Do you train her face to face?
No, it's all online.
Do you get training videos from her?
Yeah, I do. She hasn't sent me one for those.
I'd always double check. So with the clients first, I'm just going to write some messy notes here.
Yeah.
Clients first 2 weeks, ask for warm videos.
Okay.
That will just help because like the warm up sets the scene for the whole workout when it comes to priming the body and getting into it. And if she's already a bit sort of subpar, then this could be just feeding into the tight hips. Like ideally, if you've got tight hips, you should have that fixed before you go into your workout. So I would substitute until she's a bit stronger and more neurologically switched on with her glute medius, so her hips aren't feeling as jammy. I would substitute this for something like a kneeling clam with hip extension. So this sort of a thing, which again I'll have the exercise on the training app. But I'll send you I'll see if I can find one clam with hip extension. So do you know the position I'm sort of talking about? Like that.
Oh yeah.
So what that bottom leg is going to be working by extending the hips forward, and also that bottom knee pushing into the ground is going to make it easier for her to get her glute med, her core nice and strong as well. And that will be a lot easier for her to strengthen that glute med. Whereas right now the Poliquin might just be feeding into the tight hips. Single leg glute bridge as well. If she's got tight hips, I'd probably just make this bilateral, so both legs down. We want to give the client, when we're dealing with these sorts of things, a little bit more stability. That will help to actually engage the right muscles. And with tight hips, we want to engage the glutes. They're struggling to engage as well as they could. So what we want to do is mobilize the hips more so, which the glute bridge will do that, whilst also strengthening the hip extensors, which is a glute max, and then the hip abductors, which is our glute med, and that will help to stabilize the hip joint a bit better.
Amazing. Yeah, that sounds great.
Cool. Now she's in a fat loss phase. So she's been dieting seriously since the beginning of Jan, you'd say?
Yes. Yeah, she has. Yeah, she's been pretty consistent with it.
Cool. How much weight has she got left that she wants to lose?
So I'm just bringing up her latest metrics. I would say like ideally another kg.
Oh, cool. She only really wants to lose another kg.
Yeah. Like I'm sure she would be really happy if we got at least another kg, but even just one more, I'm sure she'd be really happy with that.
Yeah, cool.
Yes.
And no more than that.
Well, she's kind of been maybe a couple actually, yeah, because she's still been like fluctuating a little bit, which I think is to do a little bit with her recovery and a bit of stress going on, which is why I think like this new the program that's in this document is more aligned to like the stuff that you talked like you went through with us around like the central nervous system load. That hasn't been as present in her program. So I think that's going to be awesome for her.
Cool.
So I'm just looking at her metrics a little bit deeper now. So she's at like 59. I think if she got to 57, 56, that would be awesome. But I feel like it could be a little bit of a stretch as well. So even just another 2 would be great.
What could be smart? Like, I think a big thing for client wins, we have to understand, like, from a metabolic point of view, if she's really struggling with some gut health issues or deeper health issues, then it's important. A little bit of recomp will be great. But if she still has this sort of North Star of a fat loss goal, there's no more fat loss until basically, like, potentially, like, she's got her sister's wedding. And I'm not sure if most people for weddings are like, I want to diet before this, but it's like there's not much time in between now and then to get there. So you'd probably be best off if there's anything. So she's got her sister's hens weekend. Yeah. What could be smart is to actually bring her fat loss phase down to the 16th, have a 2-week diet break basically. Yeah. So she gets the hens weekend. She gets a little bit of food in after to actually replenish the muscles, because what a lot of people do wrong is they end up planning their diet break around a binge event, and they use all of the calories that were meant to go to replenish the cells, to decrease cortisol and inflammation around the tissues, and help to fill up the beautiful muscles, get digestion working well, get the thyroid slightly upregulated, all those sorts of things that happen when we increase food strategically and properly instead of just like binge and diet. All those get put to the wayside if we just have a short diet break here for like the hens weekend. But also the likelihood that someone, if they've just had a weekend where they might be a bit boozy, does she drink at all? Yeah, she does. Like, if there's an event, she will, but she won't just like for a random weekend kind of thing. Okay, cool. Yeah. Assume sister's hens weekend, there'll be different food, maybe a bit of alcohol. She's probably not going to want to continue eating high calories after that. So that's where you would do the little diet break before. But then I'd say let's get her down to, if she's around 59 at the moment. So you could push this out and change it a little bit. We'll adjust it, sort of a thing. But you could push, and depending on do you know what her metrics have been like in terms of digestion and stress in that regard, like gut health, PMS symptoms? What's that? Pretty good. Like, she's definitely come a long way with her gut health in terms of, just from like eating better food and things like that. Her PMS is typically not too bad, just kind of, obviously can tell when she's in her luteal phase in terms of her strength and things like that, and a little bit of mood, like, lower mood. But in terms of like being sore, that sort of thing, she doesn't get that too bad. So she's generally like in pretty good health. Cool. I'd say. She can probably tolerate a little bit more time in a diet. Now, this is something I've found that it's dependent on the person, but for those who might want a little bit more flexibility, so say a meal out or a day out on the weekend where they don't have to track, like a lifestyle day, that sort of a thing, accounting for an additional few weeks of fat loss if they have an overarching goal of a couple kilos lighter, accounting for those extra, like 2 or 3 extra weeks on top of the fat loss phase, that can be quite beneficial in just getting those last little bits off, but doing it and being able to move through the weeks with less fear and compassion, with less fear that if I fuck it up, I've only got 4 weeks to go, so I'm really like, I got to be on top of it. Instead, it's like, okay, I had high calories, but then I was able to regulate and come back to my routine, be kinder to myself that way. And that's because we want to think that when she gets to her goal weight, when she loses the body fat, we want her to have the mindset and the habits in place around food and the relationship with herself and her body image as well. We want to have the mindset and habits in place as the version of Larissa in 12 months' time who lost the weight this time, but she actually kept it off. So not just the Larissa that by, say, the end of May has dropped another 4 kilos and feels fantastic, then only to come like December this year wants to do it all over again. We want to have those sort of plans in place and bring ourselves out of the bigger picture. If she was sort of struggling with some changes in menstrual cycle, changes in gut health, and really struggling with stress, dieting would be much harder and not cause as great of a fat loss response in her body. But with where she's sitting, I think that extending that out a bit more, but having a little diet break here, because she's obviously been consistent now for a good, how many weeks has that been? 10 weeks it will be by the time she has her diet break. So with that sort of a thing, 10 weeks of nice consistency. You can also bring up that 10 weeks should yield about 3 to 6 kilograms. 6 if you're a unicorn and your calories are a bit low and you've been doing everything right. But 3 on being quite tame with your deficit. And so if we've just spent 10 weeks dieting, realistically the scales may not move as much, but the fat loss can still be happening. So that's where we can again bring it out to her and be like, okay, we have this overarching goal. So you just want to get clear on her. Would you like to get down to 56, 57 before we wrap up your dieting for the year? Yeah. And then it's like, okay, now we get to 56, 57, we get there, and then we learn how to keep it. Not so much keep the weight, because that will fluctuate, and it tends to fluctuate so much more with females across the month, different sodium levels, adjustments in food after you've been dieting. But keep the similar sort of composition despite increasing food back up. So with this, you probably only need for exit strategy, it's really only 2 weeks, about 150 to 200 calories above here. It depends how much she's losing weekly. So hypothetically, if you look at the average of the last month, the last 4 weeks, how much weight has she lost over the last 4 weeks? So from basically like the 15th of Feb and the 15th of Jan.
It's honestly saying she's not lost. Oh, she's lost 1 kg. Yeah, 1 kg.
Cool. That's great.
Yeah.
That's cool. With that sort of a thing, you would then be able to calculate. If she's lost that much over 4 weeks, then we know that that's 250 grams a week, thereabouts. We also know she's been better with her adherence. Not 100% though. She's still having a meal or two out here or there.
Yeah, she is.
Cool. So her average fat loss is 250 grams. So I've got to work this out. Hold on. The one times 0.25. So 7,700 calories is 1 kilogram of fat. If she's losing 250 grams a week, that's a 2,000 calorie deficit per week. So divide that by 7 days. And that's roughly a 275 calorie deficit per day. So we would assume that, so let's just round that to 300. So then that means theoretically 1950. And again, she's been probably a little bit more flexible. So you could even say 2,000. Even 2050, hypothetical maintenance. With your hypothetical maintenance being around 2050, we then know that when it comes to her diet break, we probably want to bring her to 2050 here instead.
Okay, cool.
It's diet break, it's not an exit strategy. But then here, this is where we want to go just a tick below 2050. So exit strategy, we only need 2 weeks, 1950, and then bang, recomp, we should be at 2050. Yeah, so just 2 weeks there. Is that making sense?
Yeah, that's correct.
Cool. Then what we want to watch, and this is where I get to use myself as a bit of an example as well, we want to watch her scale weight over this 2 week period. If it's maintained, so like on average as well, like day to day, again, it will fluctuate, but if it's maintained, then we can go up to 2150.
Okay, cool.
If scale weight maintains, over 2 week, 2 week period, stay. If it maintains over a 2 week period, stay. If it, once it begins to decrease, so if scale weight decreases by the end of the second week, so here, by the end of 2 weeks, then increase.
Cool.
Cool.
Amazing.
This, you just, like, the best thing about doing recomp with a coach versus doing recomp on your own is you have to be able to, on your own, discern if it's time for you to go up or not. And more often than not, we're really bad at letting ourselves increase the calories. Or the opposite, we go up and we don't actually need to go up because the schedule said we need to. So if she were to go out on her own, because I have some clients who want to go out on their own once they've done the fat loss sort of a thing and just have less contact, so like a monthly check-in instead of a weekly, then you could be conservative and ask them and be like, for this month, we're going to keep your calories at 1950. Then we go into the next month, we're going to bring them up to 2100 or 205. But really nice. All you need to do is trickle them in. But she doesn't weigh that much. How old is she?
How old is she? She's 32. She's quite short.
Cool. She and quite short. Okay, cool. Probably for 32 and training an average like 4 days per week, doing 10 to 12K steps and 1 or 2 cardio sessions. I'd probably say a maintenance where her cells and body will be able to be functioning optimally, and she'll be able to be feeling her absolute most vital and best. I'd probably say that's going to sit around 2,300, which again, if you were doing a stepladder approach, that would be 2,250, 2,250. You would reach that amount here. And that's not to say you can't continue to go up here, but this way she gets an opportunity she gets the fat loss phase where she makes it happen, and then she gets the keep it phase. So because a lot of the time we work so hard to go into a fat loss phase. If you're not doing like builds and cuts to then go into a bodybuilding competition where you need to have it by now, like you need to have that muscle by the end of the year or else, depending on what her goals are with her physique. If she does require like a good hit of more muscle and she wants that, then getting up to 2,300 and continuing to push up and have her slightly gain weight, so going to a surplus, she can do that 100%. But if she's pretty content with wanting to get lean and then wanting to slowly build muscle, there was a really cool study that I saw where we only actually need to be about 100 calories above our maintenance to build muscle.
Okay, cool.
So the cool thing about this is that like 200 calories above your maintenance, which is what I would give females in builds typically, it just covers your ground. Where if you're a little bit more active versus a little less active, you're always going to be eating enough to replenish. But in recomp, you're just at that tighter sort of amount where you are going to be building muscle at a slower pace, losing body fat at a slower pace. Both will be happening sort of simultaneously, and you'll see those changes continue to compound without the excess fluff that can accumulate when your number one focus is to build. So with that sort of a thing, she can still push above, again, if body is tolerating, and she can push above 2,300 and she goes to 400 and above and she's feeling great, she's moving well, amazing. You might find that so we ideally want her to be less stressed as soon as possible because she'll be burning calories a lot quicker. This then means that, say if you increase her calories, and this happens with my clients a lot as well, you increase to 2,050 and that 1 week she still drops weight. Then you bring it up. No use holding back. You bring up the date. Okay. Cool. So if if decreases in 1 week period, bring up. And I used to say sort of like to do 150 or to do a little bit more. I think if someone's calories are quite low, you obviously want to get them up sooner because their body you're not functioning optimally if you're under eating. And under eating for most of us, like the bare minimum, if you weights train 3 days per week, most women sit between 2.2 to 2.5. So we want to know this time that we can diet break, hang around that 2 mark, which that might be where her metabolism is now, but then know that we can get her to 2.4. And then if at the end of the year she's like, I've got, Philippines, I want to just lose 2 kilos, just get a little bit tighter. You can probably knock off 2 kilos in the space of about 4 or 5 weeks instead of 1 kilo in the space of 4 weeks. Because she's brought her metabolism up, she's been feeding her muscles. And then obviously the weight that drops off as well when you first go into a diet is also water. So it's like in the muscles. So, so if she has a goal with Philippines down here to get a little bit tighter before she goes because she's been eating this extra food and it's been winter and there's maybe a kilo or 2 that's accumulated back on, that can take you half the time that it would take you right now because she's in a bit of a overburdened state where it's like, do I stick to my deficit goal or do I have this event? And there's that fatigue. We want to bring a woman out of that fatigue state for as long as possible, which is why doing the fat loss, get it over and done with so that then she can be nourished for a much longer time. And then she might not even need to diet again. Or the next time she diets, if she's maintaining on 2.4 or like even 2.3, but if she's maintaining on 2.4, then her next diet will be the same calories as what her exit strategy was, rather than trying to survive on like 1,600, which is just, it's effective, but it's annoying.
Okay, cool.
Do you have any questions?
Yes, I do have a couple. So this all sounds great I think this will be good for her. I did just want to ask you because like even though she is in generally good health and things like that, like she definitely is prone to getting like being high stress at certain times, like not in terms of her health, but like relationship stuff and just busy life stuff. And sometimes if she travels, like it takes quite a toll on her. So if, say, like, for example, in the next couple months, like during where we've got her still sitting at around like 1750, would you say there would be, if she is feeling a bit high stress or not recovering as well, would you say it would be worthwhile to maybe increase a little bit earlier? Or yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
I think like if she's feeling high stress, so say she's got an event coming up where her body is basically churning through a lot more calories because she's a lot more stressed. But we need to remember the way cortisol mobilizes glucose and mobilizes like energy. It typically mobilizes it from our lean tissue. So we need to make sure we have carbs there so we're not using our lean tissue that we work hard for. But we want to remember that cortisol is a catabolic state, not an anabolic state. So bringing her food up because she's highly stressed is going to be smart in the way that you'll be able to regulate the cortisol much quicker and regulate the stress much quicker. But we probably want to address like why she is feeling more stressed and what other modalities she can use to actually relax her, ground her. Do you know what her current, stress toolkit would be?
Yeah. So like she definitely loves, like she's a lot of saunas.
So current stress toolkit, sauna, nature.
Yeah. She's just looking into going to like talk to like a therapist because like there's underlying stuff that's been going on that she knows is like probably having an impact on her physically as well. Like using like magnesium sprays, that sort of thing, meditation, journaling, not all the time, but like when she needs to. Those sorts of like regulation tools. She does a lot of stretching, like yoga as well.
Cool. Is this penciled into her day proactively, preemptively?
So we have it set as like, I guess, habits for her to incorporate every day, but it's not like at this set time. Like when in her check-ins and stuff, we'll talk about, okay, when are you going to get these in during the week? But yeah, it probably is still quite sporadic.
Yeah. Okay, cool. It would be cool to implement, especially like in high stress periods, 3 to 4 5-minute blocks per day. So not long blocks by any means, but allowing a woman to decompress, to rest, which often like our stress is driven by the fact that we just keep doing stuff. We don't take that break to pull back. And it doesn't have to be a long time. So again, 5-minute block of a little meditation, 5-minute block of just some stretching, a little bit of time without the phone, 5-minute block of feet on the grass in nature. All of that helps massively because when we're busy, the first thing to go is usually our stress toolkit because we don't have time to do it. So we're in our mind. So we get stressed. So does that hit?
Yeah, I would say she's probably doing that most weeks, at least like a couple, at least sort of 3 5-minute blocks per day, if not every day, but like consistently. But I just feel like with where I'm kind of coming from is I just like often she's feeling a little bit burnt out by the end of the week or feeling a little bit like there's a lot of like mental chatter and like stress going on and like stuff going on between her and her partner and things like that. So I'm just wondering if like it is going to be best for her to be in a deficit for that, in those lower calories for that long, given that it's a little bit unpredictable with how she's going to be feeling each week. I don't know if that makes sense, but
cool.
I guess more so like the last couple of weeks she's maybe dropped a couple of training sessions and mentioned that she's been feeling really tired or she's like really trying to push through some of her sessions lately. And I think there has been a lot of like sort of underlying stress going on because she's kind of had things going on in her personal life. So I'm just wanting to make sure I'm not like making it worse by keeping her in the lower calories for longer, if like potentially would be more beneficial to bring her up earlier. But I feel like if I was to ask her, she would want to stay in the deficit for longer because she really wants to achieve the physique results. But I guess I'm always kind of coming at it from like a health perspective more so. I just don't want her to like burn out.
I think like the issue with fat loss and busy women is you want to achieve the fat loss goal so badly, but it's like if we're not doing those other, again, stress modalities and she's not coping, she's not going to be seeing much progress in the fat loss phase anyways. So you have to decide, and you can also decide with her, you can pull up right now and you can say, you know what, coming into next week, we're going to take a few weeks off until your sister's hens. And then after your sister's hens, we're going to go back into your fat loss phase and finish this off and finish it off right. If she's having, again, those stresses in her personal life where she's not managing, it is, worth the conversation. Because I think it's one of the hardest things as coaches, but it's also people sign up with you. You're clear with your values and clear that as a coach you go health first and like body composition second, because body composition works better and stays there longer if you are healthier yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so cool. That's a good idea.
A little conversation with her that I think will be a bit helpful.
Amazing.
Cool. Wrapping up, there's a few training notes. I think I just want you to have a look at the exercise order, because the exercises you do, like doing glute bridges to warm up through the hips, position things like the CAS glute bridge first if she's known to have tight hips. Things that promote hip extension, so kickbacks, hip abduction out for now at the beginning of the workout, that can stay at the end where it is. But prioritize for her lower body days, starting with 1 to 3 hip extension exercises. An example of those 3 would be obviously a bridge of some description, an RDL, or a single leg split squat variation that is more hip hinge dominant. Start with those to open up through the hip joint while simultaneously engaging through the glutes better. And then with those warm-up changes as well, that should help to allow her to move a bit more pain-free. And with the cardio as well, if she's not doing program 2 to 3 sessions a week, and she also only sometimes makes 3 weight sessions a week, it could be best to do 3 weight sessions and then 1 to 2 cardio sessions a week as a goal, because it's so much easier to get to the gym to do 20 or 30 minutes of cardio than it is to do an hour of weights when you're in a shitty headspace.
Yeah, okay. That would make sense. And then from like more of a glute focused perspective, would you program like 3 full body days but just make it more glute focused across the lower body exercises, or would you still potentially have like a specific lower body day in there?
Yeah, I'd do 3 full body days with glute preference for, again, the first, probably for both days, I would have glute preference for the first 3 lower exercises and then 1 quad exercise and then 2 to 3 upper. And then on one of the full body days, I'd make it a bit more quad dominant and do 2 or 3 quad based exercises, or more quad heavy exercises, and then 1 glute one, and then move on to upper.
Okay, amazing. That's so helpful. Thank you.
My pleasure. Send me through once you've done some updates, or if you just update through that doc, I can access that as well.